Welcome to the session. Topic of this session is towards successful agricultural policy. The framing or implementing a good agriculture policy is very difficult task, and actually it is more complex when the actors and stakeholders they have the conflicting goal out of the policy process, and sometimes there is a disharmony in the selection of the instruments for the agriculture policy, because there are different or conflicting goals and the conflicting view on the ways the policy is going to be implemented, and it will have the impact on the target audience or target people. So framing good agriculture policy is very difficult task, and there are certain reasons for the policy failures, like in the operational context, in the general context, in the theoretical context, and actually we need to identify these policy failure reasons, and we need to bring a thorough discussions on while formulating agriculture policies to remove the probable reasons of policy failures. So basically in this session we are going to discuss about the features of the good agriculture policies and how we can overcome the problem of policy failure. So how we can build, how we can make the good agriculture policy which bring the desired result, which help in achieving the objective of the agriculture policy. So that is very important. So in this session basically we are going to discuss how we can frame the good agriculture policies which bring the success in the achieving the objectives. So learning objective of this session is to learn the features of the good agriculture policy, then identify the basic requirements of good agriculture policy, and discuss the issue of internalizing the externalities and monitoring and evaluation for the successful agriculture policy. So let us first start what is the features, what are the good features of the agriculture policy which need to have. Actually agriculture policy should be simple and clearly laid out. It should be understandable to the in the target audience, to the stakeholder, to the implementers, and actually it should be very clear what are the activity need to be taken to implement the policy. So that type of policy is very much required, and the issues and areas to be addressed are prioritized with time frames. So actually what are the issues we are going to tackle in the policy, in which area we are going to implement the policy, it should to be properly addressed and prioritized, so that there is no confusion, and it should be prioritized in keeping with the time frame. So we need to give the proper time frame, we need to give the schedule for the implementation of the activities, then only we can bring the desirable policies or desirable impact of the policy. And then the good agriculture policies, they are basically sensitive to the socio-cultural background of the farming community. Actually the policies should be built while considering the social or socio-cultural background. Actually we should analyze the target groups, what are their living standards, what is their culture, how they interact with the societies, what are they thinking about the policies. And so actually we need to discuss, we need to bring the social cultural aspect of the target group, and the policy should be flexible enough to adjust with the ground realities, and it should be have the provision to change in the policies, implementation plans, the sometimes instruments if there is some new circumstances appear at the ground level. So it should be basically adjustable to the ground situation, to the ground reality, and the policy should have a clear delineation of the responsibility of the different agents who implement the policy. Actually we need to clearly define the role and responsibility of the different category of the peoples, the farmers, the agriculture department people, the NGOs, the cooperatives, and actually so if there is a clear definition of the role of the different organization or agents, we can implement the policy in a successful manner. Then the good agriculture policy must contain certain basic features which are specific to countries, which are specific to the regions, which are specific to the district or villages, where we have the large diversities, So that's why, if it fill or it fulfill the local requirement, the policy will be accepted by the target peoples, and we will have the successful agriculture policy. And more importantly, when we have the good agriculture policy, it should have sufficient focus on the different aspects, like we should have focus on the process of the policy making, rather than merely on the content of the policies. How policy have been framed, that is also very important. If you have consultation of the peoples, if you have a consultation of the peoples who are going to affected from the policy, we can make the good agriculture policy. And then the issue of the externality need to be addressed also, while formulating a policy, while making the policy. If we don't think about the probable externalities, there may be some harmful effect on the society, and the society will not accept the agriculture policy. Then we move to the process of policy making. So how we can bring the good agriculture policy? So actually the process of policy making, so participation or involvement of the target groups as well as the key actors in the different stages of the policy formulation is very essential to bring the desired results out of the policy process. So actually, if we have the participation, it provides adequate opportunity to amicably balance the trade-off among the the conflicting objective at the policy formulation stage itself. So if there is a adequate opportunity for interaction is there, different actors, they can discuss the objectives and they can resolve on a common objective, so there will be no conflict in the identification of policy objectives. So proper involvement of the target group, that is particularly the farmers, in the implementation and follow-up stages also very much required, and this involvement of farmers in the implementation and follow-up stages that lead to an effective check on the excessive rent seeking behavior of the key players. So if there is some wrong things from the key actors or the key players are there, if we involve the farmers, they can stop them doing some thing wrong. So their participation of the farmers or target group is very much important, and actually it is very important. Actually, this is basically precisely a decentralization or participatory approach to a policy process. We can call, if we involve the participant, we involve the target group, that is a kind of basically participatory approach of policy formulation. So when we talk about the basic requirements for formulating the good agriculture policy, there are three things very important. One is there should be a synergy among the different objectives which are proposed by the different target groups, and actually we should have the judicious mix of the instruments, and then there should be harmonizing the interest of the key players should also be there in the agriculture policy process. So when we talk about the basic requirement of the agriculture policy, for formulating the good agriculture policy, we need to assess and balance the trade-off among the different objectives. It is very important because there are three types of objectives we have discussed earlier also, like we have the objectives related to efficiency, we have objectives related to equity or social equity, and we have the objective related to sustainability. And all this, when all these three types of objectives are there, sometimes we think they are the competing to each other, or sometimes we think they are the mutually exclusive. But actually the ideal scenario is that this all three types of objectives, the efficiency, equity and sustainability, they are additive to each other, they are presupposing to each other, and they are supporting to each other. So actually all three objectives, they add, they help in the achieving the other objectives. So all three objectives, they are basically a complementary or supplementary. We need to have all three type of objective in the agriculture policy process. So like the distribution objective or equity objective is not possible without enhancing the production efficiency. If the production and distribution prevail at a point of time, it is quite natural that the same will be carried out on the continued future. So that is basically sustainability. If the distribution activities are there, or the efficiency objectives or production activity are there, we can assume that it will be go for a longer period of time. So we can say there is a sustainability objective is there. Then when we talk about the trade-off among the objectives, the the real situation is that there is a potential conflict may exist among these objectives, actually, and then here real challenge is that to balance the conflict and to reduce the trade-off among the competing objective to an acceptable level. So here the major role is played by the political parties, or political prudence is very important here, and they need to understand the the all three type of objective, and they should bring some balance between the conflicting objectives. So here there are various way to assess the this conflicting activities. Here one example is there, like we have the three different categories of the objective: economic efficiency, social equity, and the environmental sustainability. And in case of economic efficiency objectives, actually we have different types of objectives, like specific to efficiency objective, like the production or productivity enhancement, or higher income or profit, reduced cost and risk, the resource efficiency, export earnings. So these are the different types of objectives we have from the economic efficiency side. And in case of the social equity, we may have the higher employment, providing a job opportunity to the people, number of peoples, and the wage and work conditions, the production of the basic needs, the gender perspectives, women and men, all type of people should be benefited, and the quality products, and the environmental sustainability objective may be of conservation of soil and water. We may reduce some externalities, or pollution of the environment, the contamination of the food and water, and depletion of the resources. Actually, these are the different types of objectives we have, and here what we can assess the importance of this different objective. We can assess their relative importance. So here we can assign some scores, or we can also assign some qualitative values, like a score we can give the 1 to 5 scales. 1 if most important, the 5 less important, then 4, 3, 2, 1, so, or we can give some marks plus 1 plus, 2 plus, 3 plus, 4 plus, like so. Here we can give some scores which define their relative importance, and we can also give here the qualitative values like good, very good, excellent, that type of things we need to, and based on this evaluation we can identify the most suitable or most acceptable objectives by this assessment. So that is very important when we want to have trade-off, we want to reduce the trade-off, when we want to reduce some consensus to fix the objective. Then another basic requirement for formulating good agriculture policy is that there should be a judicious combination of different policy instruments. Actually, we have different types of the policy instruments, like price related, non-price related, subsidies, food subsidy, the price support, the investment, so there are different research support, the infrastructure development. So there are different types of instruments are there, and so we should have a judicious combination of different type of policy instruments. And actually here we need to consider the competitive objectives. We need to consider about the time available and the scales of the activities of one village, two village, district, whole country, or the priorities and other consideration of the particular agriculture policy. So we need to have thorough discussion on this aspect. Then we have to also discuss about the cost effectiveness of the policy instruments, which policy instruments we can implement, we can bring the desired result at less cost. So we need to select that type of instrument sometime. And here the market based instruments can be used like for the environmental objectives, and sometimes in a cost effective wage or at low cost, like the government objectives, like the government as a government instruments, government can impose some rules, regulation, and penalty to control the pollutions. Or here in market based approach, actually we can put some environmental tax on the polluters. So that is basically market based instruments, and we need to have mixture of policy instruments under such circumstances, then only we can achieve the desired objectives. When we talk about the the environmental objectives, or so here, and actually the environmental tax on polluting agrochemicals, actually when we put some tax on the agrochemicals which are polluting the water or food, so if we are putting more tax on such agrochemicals, farmer will reduce the use of such agrochemicals. So it can be combined with strict regulation to see that the pollution or the contamination does not cross the acceptable limit. So here the market, the instruments in terms of the putting the tax, as well as the strict regulations. That even the if the market regulation is not able to do that activity, so the government regulation on putting some limited on use can be used. So actually, and or here another type of instruments that the government can subsidize the eco-friendly organic inputs. So farmers will move from agrochemical to the eco-friendly organic input. So here judicious combination of different instruments, is very much required. And here the civil society agents, or they can actually they can create some awareness campaign, they can run some awareness campaign to educate the farmers about the harmful effect of the agrochemicals. So we need to have judicious combination of the different instruments. We need to create some check and balance on the key actors while formulating the good agriculture policy. So proper check and balance on the behavior of the key actors, and it is very important, and we need to harmonize their interest to bring the desired result of the policy actions. So here we need to have the care to prevent the vested interest and excessive rent seeking behavior from the government or bureaucrats sometimes, and we need to have balancing the interest in that is very important at the particularly at the implementation level, or particularly at the follow-up stage. And this check and balance should be designed internally at the policy formulation stage itself. So while preparing the policy document, we need to bring this check and balances in the policy document. So how this check and balances can work, there are different way. Like for the government and bureaucracy, market is basically check factors. Actually the market can help the government and the bureaucracy, like in case of the supply and distribution of subsidy, we have the two public sector organizations like National Seed Corporation or State Seed Corporation. They supply the seed. Here the private company, they can provide the healthy competition to this National Seed Corporation or State Seed Corporation. So if anything wrong from the this government public enterprises, the private companies, they can provide competition. So there's the private company, they can check the activity of the government. And in case of the for market, the state The public sector, they play the check role, like the agriculture produce marketing committee. They regulate the marketing activity of the private agents or traders. So if there is some unscrupulous activity from the private agent or private traders, so here the agriculture produce marketing committee, they regulate their activities and then can give some kind of guidance, or they stop the wrong things from the private agents or trader. And for both the public sector or private sector, cooperative sectors can play a role of the check. Here, like Gujarat Amul for milk, they are providing a tough competition to the both public sector company and the private sector company. So, and above all, community play important role. Like in joint forest management, the community participation is giving the good results. Forest department except they cannot bring the good results. So there is no private company the participation. So here the community participation is giving good results. In similar manner, the water users associations, they are also doing good work for a proper maintenance of the water, the water bodies. So community also play important role here. When we talk about the some good features or basic requirement, actually in formulating agriculture policy, we need to internalize the externalities. Actually, I know we have the both negative as well as positive externalities, and this positive and negative externalities, they need to be identified, they need to be quantified, and they need to be internalized. Actually, we need to bring this external effect on the society due to the project activity, due to the policy activity. We should account them as a cost and benefit. That is very much important. And the quantification of this externalities, basically it is referred to the estimating the benefits and cost of the particular externalities. And estimating of this additional benefits or cost in monetary value is very important. And actually basically we monitor the services provided by the like the tree through the supply of the oxygens and cleaning of atmospheres, though it is very difficult to measure, to estimate the impact of tree, the effect of tree in terms of supply of oxygens or in terms of the cleaning the atmosphere. But actually we need to calculate them, and there are different techniques are available, like willingness to pay. So the another example is the social cost of the deteriorating human health due to the contamination or residual effect of the pesticides. All need to be accounted or counted, and we need to add this cost into this project or policy impact assessment. So actually this internalizing or the externalities, it help in the ascertain the true social value and actual outcome of the policy. Then the monitoring and evaluation is also very important, and for bringing the desired result from the policy process. So actually in the monitoring, basically we ascertain whether the policy process is moving in the desired direction or not. In case of the evaluation, it is a basically process to gauge the progress of this policy process or the policy or project. So when we prepare the checklist for monitoring of policy process, it is very important. Actually we can check what are the activities we have already completed in the policy implementation stage. So it provide a kind of a check, or provide a kind of guidance the how much activity we have already completed, what are the activity need to be completed to achieve the to implement the policy. And basically in case of evaluation, we fix some yardsticks, some indicators, and then we evaluate the progress of the same project on that yardsticks and indicators. And the mechanism for adequate monitoring and evaluation should be built at every stage of the policy, and it should be incorporated in the document itself. It should be defined how the monitoring will be done, how the evaluation of done, and here the participation of the target groups or the ultimate beneficiary is very important. Actually, they can better monitor the progress, or they can better evaluate the project or policy outcome. Now we can sum up the session that the actually to have the successful agriculture policy, we need to have different basic requirement, and all these basic requirements must be met to bring the desired or good agriculture policy. And the basic requirements are related to bring the synergy among the different objectives. We need to have a judicious mix of instruments for the successful agriculture policy, and we need to harmonize the interest of the key actors in agriculture policy process, and we need to also quantify, we need to account the negative as well as the positive externalities which are arising due to the policy process, and this negative externalities, they need to be identified, quantified, and they need to be internalized in the policy process. With this, I thank you all. Thank you very much.